Early on in ministry, I made a couple major mistakes. One of them was hiring one of my better friends as my assistant pastor. Not that he wasn't qualified, but you need to be really careful as a church planter to hire men who are already in a deeply committed relationship with you. And I want to share an experience with you and the pain of expectation without communication. Hi, this is Rick Curtis, and this Church Planting Minute is brought to you from Stone Mountain, Georgia. In my desk drawer, I had a chip of drywall from my office wall. It served as a reminder of an incident that happened, the firing of my good friend and the destruction of a relationship. That chip came to represent not the chip on the wall, but the chip that was on my shoulder in those early years of ministry. You see, in having one of my better friends as my assistant pastor, I had expectations that he would understand what I wanted done, as well as how and when. And because of my expectations and lack of communication, the animosity and frustration began to grow. You see, as a young leader, I had not learned the skills that I needed to have to communicate effectively to one that I had high expectations of. The increased stress on the relationship and the lack of alignment in our church plant soon gave way to confrontation as my relationship with my good friend unraveled. He threw his keys back in my office and he left the building for the final time. It was that afternoon that I noticed that chip of the wall on the floor. Whether as a result of the keys being thrown back, I will never know. As a church planter, let me remind you that there might be symbols of ugliness that you need to keep around for a period of time to remind you of the ugly days, at least until such a day where the ugliness can be put completely and forever behind you. I eventually threw that chip away, but there were many days when I pulled it out to remember my own deficiencies as a leader. As for my friend, it took more than a decade, but that relationship was eventually restored.